All right, guys, today I want to tell you about the moves I've been making in the stock market the last couple of weeks. Primarily this past week or so, I've sold the majority of my stocks, and really it was mostly in the QQQ. And I actually bought the SQQQ now, which is the inverse, meaning you're betting the market's going to go down. I also bought the inverse for Tesla because Tesla was so high, it was trading at $460 a share or whatever. So I did that. I still am holding on to, a couple different stocks. I have Amazon and PayPal and Lululemon. There's a couple stocks I still do own, just because I feel like, I have small positions in most of them, or I feel like the valuation is not too high yet. But for these other ones, I've taken profits this year on SMCI. That was my #1 pick. Doubled my money on that. Doubled my money on ELF this year. What else? There was AMD was another great one. There was lots of great investments. The QQQ, I made, anywhere from 30 to 50% on those shares that I bought just 6 months ago. So for me to make, let's say an average of a 35% in 6 months just on the index shares, I'm very happy with taking those profits. So I did that, and now we're going to see what happens. Hopefully the market corrects over the next month or two, and I don't have to, wait 6 months or something to get back into the market. But as soon as the market dips, let's say over 10%, and there's some better deals out there for stocks like Microsoft or Meta, what else? TSM. There's a lot of stocks that I want to own. They need to be at better valuation. TSM was another one that I made a bunch of money on this year. If you watch one of my earlier TikToks from back in April of 2025, you can see all the stocks that I picked. My top 10 picks were all, great investments this year. I made a ton of money, and I'm super happy I did that. But now, even in the short span of 6 months, these stocks have ran up like crazy. Okay, so as with, all the different cycles in the stock market, stocks go up for a while and then they come down for a while. And, it's not fun to be caught up in that bear market where you're either, you don't have any cash to buy, or you're just sitting on your shares where, let's say, if right now I'm up a lot, or I was up a lot, right? If the market was to crash over the next couple of weeks and I would have missed out on all those gains, I'd be really disappointed, right? Because I made a ton of money over 6 months, and to lose all that, it sucks, because I've been there. So that's kind of why I'm taking this position. And sure, the market can go higher. It's not out of the question for the market to go up another 10% or something for the next couple months. And if that happens, okay, well, like I said, I have a little bit of stock left, so I will capitalize on those appreciation gains if that happens. But I would bet that it won't happen, because you look at the P/E ratio for large cap stocks in the S&P and stuff, we're pretty much back to where we were in 2021, which was pretty, kind of like a bubble. And then 2022 was a huge crash. I don't think 2026 is going to be a huge crash. I think it's just going to be a 15% correction or something like that. But with that being said, the valuations are still high. I think AI is going to keep taking people's jobs, and that's going to hurt consumer spending if more people are unemployed. So that's kind of why I feel confident selling a lot of my shares. Let me know what you guys are doing, and I will see you in the next video.